These are the scars of Monkey D. Luffy, the hero of One Piece. The trademark one he has under his left eye that he inflicted on himself to prove his determination to become a pirate to Shanks. And of course the large, gruesome looking one on his chest in the shape of a giant X where Akainu's attack hit him after he had taken Ace's life. Both of them are reminders of the two most life-altering moments in Luffy's life, a visual representation, if you like, of Luffy's determination to become a great pirate and of the tragic loss of his older brother and his failure at Marineford. And when I thought about it for a second, it hit me. It's not only Luffy's scars that represent who he is as a person and what path he follows. No, this is true for every single character in the story that carries some sort of scar. Zoro, Kaido, Shanks, Nami, Katakuri, Whitebeard, every single scar they carry is a manifestation of what they have gone through and what they stand for. But it gets even crazier than that, because I think I've discovered that these scars reveal to us many of the things that still have to happen before the end of the story, in my opinion making it one of the most badass ways of storytelling in the entire story to me. And for me, Luffy is of course the best person to begin with because, well, he's the protagonist. So what do the marks on his rubbery body tell us about the end of One Piece? Well, as I've said, these scars represent the most important events in Luffy's entire life, both of which are still unresolved. The knife cut under his left eye is a constant reminder throughout the story that our rubbery boy had one dream and one dream only his entire life. Not becoming a doctor and then a marine and then a pirate, no. Luffy wanted to become the Pirate King ever since he met Shanks. To me, it almost feels like a physical representation of his oath that he will become a great pirate. And it's also a reminder of Shanks' sacrifice, the lesson he taught Luffy in the pub with the mountain bandits, and of course, the moment that Luffy consumed his devil fruit that actually was the thing that set him on his path to become a pirate captain and start his own crew. It also proves to us, and I guess to Luffy himself as well, right from the start, that he's aware that the path to freedom will be painful and full of sacrifices, but that he's still willing to take all of it on. And so I think it's pretty fair to say that this little scar is a summary of Luffy's origins and his motivation for what he's doing and trying to achieve throughout the entire story. But what exactly does this tell us about the ending? Well, as you've probably guessed, this scar also commemorates his promise to Shanks to return the legendary straw hat that was passed down from Roger to him to Luffy, symbolizing Shanks' trust in Luffy as the one who can bring the dawn and change the world. While the scar keeps reminding us that Luffy is still trying to become that great pirate, it also promises us a reunion of these two men that will mark Luffy as ready to claim the throne of the pirate world, which, as you know, I believe should be happening pretty soon now. And so I see this scar basically as a sort of guarantee that we will have a reunion between Shanks and Luffy, and of course of Luffy becoming Pirate King, so that the promise that is sealed in his cheek now can be fulfilled. Shanks, by the way, who of course carries two major scars as well. His lost arm, though I guess that's a pretty damn big scar, that is basically Shanks' counterpart to Luffy's, reminding us of him and their promise. Meanwhile, the three distinct claw marks over his eyes that he received during a confrontation with Blackbeard represent his futile quest to stop Teach from gaining power, something that he has failed to do so far. This scar also is a promise to us that the relationship between Shanks and Blackbeard will have some sort of payoff later in the story. It could of course be an actual meeting between these two with a chance for Shanks to fulfill his mission, though we both know that that probably would have no good ending for him. Or alternatively, we will at least get the story behind Shanks' chase of Teach and the secrets that both of them clearly know about the world that we're still unaware of. And so I like to see this triple scar as a representation of Shanks' all-seeing nature and of his attempt to stop Blackbeard. Whitebeard. I mean, he even presents it to Whitebeard during their meeting, who, by the way, mentions his own scars he received from Roger when he sees Shanks as well. In case you're wondering why that is, it's of course because Shanks was part of Roger's crew, so seeing Shanks reminds Whitebeard of his old rival and all the fights and feasts that they've experienced together. Really, his major life events and battles commemorated on his chest. They also really nicely represent Whitebeard's character, someone who always stood protectingly in front of his crew, which he called his family. Something that Eiichiro Oda, the author of One Piece, actually dedicated an entire page to at his passing, showing a very emotional me at that time that this man didn't have a single scar on his back, never running away, and always facing his enemies head on. Without any doubt, one of my all-time favorite moments in the entire story. And it's made extra powerful because Oda-sensei doesn't tell us all this, but simply shows us his scars and the lack thereof on his back. Brilliance! And of course, Whitebeard's death at Marineford, how he came prepared to die so that his son Ace could live, and how Akainu put a very unfortunate end to his dreams and era, all of it is deeply engraved in Luffy's chest in the shape of his gaping X-shaped scar. In case you forgot, he received it when his own brother gave his life to protect his, and when Jinbei also risked being killed to protect Luffy. As I've discussed in a lot of detail before in a number of character analysis I did on Luffy, Marineford and Ace's death were the lowest point in his arc and the moment that he grew the most as a character. The need to take the world more seriously, to learn that failure is a real possibility, and to get strong enough to protect his crew and change the world. Basically, it's another promise that Luffy makes to himself when he starts his training with Rayleigh that is enclosed in his healing wound in his chest. The X, by the way, I really like to think is a nice nod to the X that Ace had in his tattoo in memory of their third brother Sabo's Jolly Roger. And maybe even more interestingly, the scar also tells us more about Luffy and his ability to make people love and trust him, because it is the product of his brother and Jinbei and the entire Whitebeard pirates as a whole basically protecting him. And once again, I think it does tell us things that will definitely have to happen in the story. There's of course Luffy's eventual encounter with Akainu and how Luffy will deal with the man that killed his brother. Will he fight him? Will he forgive him? I really can't wait to find out. And I personally also like to think that the scar sets up the possible death of another person that's close to Luffy, only that this time Luffy will be able to stop it. Whether this will be Sabo or one of the Straw Hats or someone completely else, I don't know, but I feel that this scar will serve as a reminder to Luffy that he became stronger to not lose another person like he did with Ace. I mean, if you wanted to be really poetic about this, you could probably even say that these scars represent the inherited will of the people they're connected to, Shanks and Ace, that Luffy now carries. And here I thought that scars couldn't get any cooler, but they clearly did. Okay, but here's the real reason why I think that these scars let us know exactly what still needs to happen in the story. Because what I've noticed is that certain fights leave characters like Luffy or Zoro with lasting scars, while others don't. Biggest example here, Luffy doesn't have a scar from the fight with Katakuri despite probably being the most vile wound he received yet. Or being impaled by Crocodile. I mean, in theory, if Luffy's little knife left a scar, shouldn't he be covered in scars from all of his fights? And so I honestly think that the reason that only certain wounds leave scars is because they represent an unresolved or ongoing conflict of the character. Luffy needs to meet Shanks and face Akainu, Shanks and Blackbeard, Zoro and Mihawk, though I do want to save Zoro's scars for a whole separate video if you want to see that. Then you of course have the scars of both Akainu and Aokiji, reminding them of their unresolved conflict of how the Marines should be led. But maybe my favorite example of all is the scar that Oden gave to Kaido, the giant cut across his chest. past. Because even though Oden is dead, Kaido's conflict about that fight is far from over. The fact that he won this duel in an inhonorable way because someone distracted Oden still haunts him to this day. I go into much more detail about this all in Kaido's character analysis, but to sum it up for here, this scar embodies the burden that Kaido has put on himself to reach his goal to change the world, even if it means going against his honor that is so important to him, and the joy of fighting against a strong opponent in a fair fight. And so the scar is there because Kaido is still struggling with what it really represents. Nami's scar across her shoulder embodies her struggle under Arlong and how she ultimately got saved by Luffy. And so the only reason you don't see her scar is because she decided to put a tattoo over it, making it vanish because the conflict connected to it has been resolved. Or take Brûlé and her scar across her face that represented her ongoing conflict with her own family, and also Katakuri's struggle to be the strong older brother that can't show any kind of weakness. As you might remember, Brûlé got the scar after being attacked by other kids until Katakuri stepped in to protect her. Katakuri, by the way, with his own scars around his mouth that he got from eating too many donuts, pretty cool by the way, that he got bullied for in the end and thus made him forever hide his face until Luffy came around for him. And so, spinning this a bit further, I think the reason why Luffy doesn't carry a scar from this fight with Katakuri is because there is no more conflict between them. They're basically two men who helped each other and found deep respect for their opponents. Now, Katakuri, on the other hand, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he had kept a scar of where he stabbed himself. After all, it's a really cool reminder of how Luffy changed his life, physical proof for his honor as a man for making the fight fair, and opening up the chance to reunite with Luffy in the future as a possible ally. Another fantastic example for this would be Kid and his new scar that he got from Shanks. It also embodies the unresolved conflict between these two and how Kid wants to take down the Yonko above all else. And if you want to know the whole story behind Kid and all the rage and anger that he has and why he thinks he needs to take down all the Yonko on his own, well, then you just really can't miss out on this video right here where I explain all that and much more.